Hi Capricorn, welcome to your end of October 2020 General Tarot update. It's Raina here. Couldn't get away from that. Money. Started out with money, I ended with money. Okay, so the heart of the matter is the Knight of Pentacles, which is a card associated with Taurus, and it's that energy of the Taurus person, the plotting. When I say plotting, I mean not plotting, but plodding. You know, one foot in front of the other, working, very good work ethic, not much imagination, but just kind of like crushing it, you know, work-wise, and being consistent, and just every day, you know, getting closer to a financial goal. In that work mode type of mentality, and kind of just like, that's where you're at, that's where your head is at. And this can sometimes lead to, you know, if you're in a relationship, it can lead to complications. What we have in the past position is the Moon card, which is a card of uncertainty, a card of deception, sometimes insanity, and substance abuse and things like that. Denial, maybe lying to oneself. In the context of what I'm seeing here, because this card and the Devil card are flanked by the Knight of Pentacles, you might be a workaholic trying to escape a certain personal matter that you feel like you can't solve anyway, so why not just remove yourself from the situation? That deception could be a partner who is exhibiting traits that I just mentioned, like some kind of mental illness or addiction. This could be somebody that you suspect is cheating on you, and maybe your long hours have exacerbated the situation, or they were the trigger for that person to seek attention from another person. And it's not to absolve them of the responsibility of, you know, being faithful, but just saying what might have happened. I don't know, like, that's kind of where I'm going with that. It's like, based on the Knight of Pentacles, I feel like you're trying to ward off some of the negative situation around you. And I think Capricorns tend to do that. That you have the ability to focus when everything around you is going to hell. You can still focus and deal with a particular situation when you have to. And that can be a saving grace, because you know what? I think that's actually a good idea. Instead of just like obsessing about something that you can't control, is to do something about it, do something productive. The only problem is that if you really want to salvage the relationship, that's not going to help matters to be, you know, running away from the matter at hand either. That's not going to help. The higher message is the Devil card, which can be, it doesn't, I'm not saying that this is you, but you notice that there's a pentacle in here. This is because the Devil card is connected to Capricorn, an earth sign. The pentacles are connected to earth, so it's dealing with material matters, but in the more extreme sense, where people, it's like selling your soul for something, in other words. And so an example is working long hours and not being able to spend time with your children because you're, or not, you know, going to their musical recitals or whatever, because you're so wrapped up in your own thing. And So you're willing to sacrifice that relationship for one, for this glory of the career, which is temporary, just like your child being a child is. That kind of thing, where later on the person looks back and says, wow, I would have done it differently. I would have spent more time with my family and less time trying to chase some external validation of myself. But I see this more, the devil card, more as being greed, like money matters, wanting that money. So, what are you willing to do for money? Looking at it philosophically. Are you lying to yourself about the situation? Are you reframing it? Are you telling yourself something different, but really it is because of greed or because of the ego, lust? Is there a type of situation with a lust-filled relationship? I think I mentioned that Knight of Pentacles can be Taurus, and these are two earth signs that could get very lusty. Kind of like the way that sounds, lusty. And, ultimately the devil card is a card of bondage. So the person wants to break free, but they feel like they can't. So maybe, maybe with the Knight of Pentacles, the work that you're doing isn't necessarily something that you feel passionate about, and you're kind of on that hamster wheel. But you feel like if you don't do it, you won't have the rewards, the material rewards from it, that you might be addicted to for whatever reason. What crosses you is the Temperance card. Yeah, so there might be addiction too in this. Addiction threatening your work ethic? Could it be? Are you looking at the imbalances? Also, 1 foot in the water and 1 foot on land. Temperance card as above, so below. Always having the spiritual balance with the material. Not giving too much importance to the material over the spiritual or the immaterial, so that you can have balance in your life. I mentioned this before. I don't know how many people will remember this, but I've said this about Capricorn, that when I was looking at famous gurus, that I saw more in Capricorn than other signs, and I was trying to rack my brain, like, why would that be? But it's funny because one of them is the Maharishi, who's since passed away, but he was the one who was connected to transcendental meditation. And he got criticized for charging what was seen as an exorbitant amount of money, or just charging it all for the mantra or the instruction. And he said that in the West, like in, the United States and probably European nations as well, that people don't value things when they're given for free. So he wanted them to value it. And I thought that was really a clever answer. I don't know how true it was. I mean, there is a grain of truth in that, I think. But I'm sure he didn't mind getting that money because he's a Capricorn, and that's just how you roll. You're always, and it's not just out of greed, it's wanting to constantly rise up in station in life, which is a form of expansion. So just looking at it from that point of view, and if you are putting too much emphasis on the material side of life, and therefore everything that you see is in a limited viewpoint, because it's only about what you stand to gain or lose, not thinking about it from a spiritual point of view. But again, there may be people who are dealing with some kind of extramarital affair, whether you are the one who is engaging in it or another party. Because it's hard for me. At first I was going to say, maybe you're in the dark about this and that's why you're getting the Moon card. But I could see too that deception was created no matter who's doing it. And then we have here in, what's coming in, or the advice, the Ace of Swords, this can be seeing things as they really are. So that would suggest that somebody has been in denial over maybe somebody else's affair. But it can apply to other areas of life where you may not be really sure about the direction you want to go in. Sometimes, when I see the king of, not the king, but the Knight of Pentacles, it's easy sometimes to just get in that groove and just work for somebody else and, have, a set amount of money that you're going to make if you show up every day. And it just feels like very predictable, safe, and a great way to go through life. But sometimes in life, you may be called to do something on your own, to birth something new. And this may be one of those times for you. Definitely with the tail end of Jupiter and Saturn in Capricorn, you may be like, I still want to leave my mark, or I still want to do something. So the Ace of Swords can give you clarity of thought about this issue so that you can move forward. And the King of Pentacles is the outcome card. After working with this Morgan Greer deck for several years now, I noticed the grapes appear with prosperity. So this is, definitely grapes must symbolize, having money or something. But this is a card of maybe having your own business, but feeling like you are the captain of your ship when it relates to your financial wherewithal. I have often said, Capricorn is a cardinal sign, and so a lot of you may feel like you were born to be a leader. And so taking orders from somebody else may not sit well with you. You may not feel really good about it. And yet you cooperate because the gain is so much more than what you feel is the downside of it. Even though you may feel like, no, this isn't how it's supposed to be, you may still go along with that. So the only thing, and that applies to, working your way up the corporate ladder, if you will. But there might come a point, and this seems like for some of you it's now, where you're not willing to take a back seat and you want to be the driving force. You want to call your own shots, be able to make decisions on your own without having to consult with anyone. And this may be the time when you're going to make your move. Perhaps you've been saving money for this purpose all along, but what you have to do is free yourself from the devil's grip, if you will, meaning the temptation to allow money to keep you in that predictable place. They have a phrase that's pretty hip right now called level up. And this may be your time to level up. And boy, there might be like a lot to kind of entice you, but it looks like you're standing your ground because the king is the head honcho, and that's you. Okay, that's what I have for you, Capricorn. I hope you enjoyed this. If you'd like a private reading, the link is below. Take care. Bye.